Hello, my name is Sleepless. I do research and development for Halo 3 speedrunning, and so today we're going to talk about how to do vertical deployable cover launches. So there are a lot of things that need to happen for a vertical DC launch to work well. The first thing you want to do is you probably want to be on the Master Chief Collection version of the game. So on the original version of Halo 3, you can do this same trick, but the problem is you'll only get about that much height if you're lucky, and it's a lot less consistent. But if you're on the Master Chief Collection version, you can get height up to higher than stuff like that. And so it's a lot more consistent and a lot higher to get as well. The second thing you want to do is you want to be on some pretty level ground. It doesn't matter too terribly much, but if you have like a slant like this, that'll really affect your timing too poorly, and it'll just make doing the launch that much harder. So I try to go for flat ground launches like this. The next thing you want to make sure that you have is you want to have a good weapon that you feel comfortable with for vertical DC launching. So vertical DC launching has a different effect than sideways and forward and backward DC launching with weapons. Personally, I think that the battle rifle is the best weapon to have, and that's very convenient because you'll have it in 99% of scenarios in Halo 3. So, the first thing you want to do to start a launch is you want to be on flat ground, like I said before, and then you want to kind of angle your crosshair. And so if you see, there's this little black section between my kneecap right here and my thigh down here. And so I try to line up where my thigh in the green meets the black of the start of my kneecap right here. And I try to line that up with the bottom of my screen like this. So right now they're about flat lined up with each other. So that's probably the best setup that you can have. Once you get more confident with it, you can kind of angle it so that the screen like cuts off like part of it on the right, as long as it's halfway between this side and this side of the black. And so once you have it lined up, you'll have it lined up flat with the bottom of the screen. And then you want to jump and throw the deployable cover almost immediately afterwards. So it should look something like this. And so that got me a good amount of vertical height. Unfortunately, there's a death barrier right above there, so that's why I died. So next we're going to talk about timing. So timing is the most difficult part of this for people to understand. So timing is difficult because there's not really any kind of visual or audio cue. You just kind of need to get a feel for it. So the way I do it is I kind of go for a ba-bum style of timing. So the first bum is me pressing the jump button, and then the second one is me throwing the equipment. And so that tends to get me the best amount of luck. What happens if you throw it too close to each other? So if I jump and then pretty much immediately throw down the deployable cover, this will happen. And you just kind of like land on top like this. And so if you were to do it too late, what will happen is you'll line up the bottom of your screen like this, and then you kind of just end up below the DC, and that's not what you want. You kind of want to be stuck in here so it launches you like that. And it'll give you a little bit of forward momentum as well as upward momentum. And you can theoretically do this with any weapon. Using small arms weapons like the plasma pistol, needler, magnum, and spiker work pretty much the same setup as the battle rifle, but weapons like a Spartan laser, you need to kind of like angle yourself more out like this. I won't get into the specifics of that today just because I don't think that that's entirely necessary, because you'll have one of those weapons on you most of the time. The hammer is very difficult to do it with. I won't even attempt to do it just because it gets you such a small launch most of the time anyway. So you just kind of want to go for that ba-bum pattern. It's a weird way of saying it, but it's honestly what works. So let me try and see the like angled setup, so you don't have to spend the whole time like setting up straight. If you kind of angle yourself like this, you can still do it. And it's really not too hard. But it gives you plenty of vertical height. And so the reason that we want to do something like this is because there are certain tricks, and by certain tricks I mean there's literally one trick in this game that we found so far. If I can get into the elevator. Wow. There's a trick where you can launch through the elevator shaft and then kind of land up top on one of the beams, and that skips having to bring down the elevator and then bring it back up. So I will try to get it, but it is a very hard trick for a reason. So that was okay. We do need to get a little bit higher up like that. And then you could do a frag grenade jump and a hammer boost to get up here, and that'll hit the trigger for this area. So that's why we want to do this trick, is because it'll save time here. That's pretty much all of the nuances for vertical DC launching. Really, it just comes down to personal weapon preference, making sure you're on flat ground, and making sure you're running on the Master Chief Collection, because that really does make a difference. I hope you found this helpful.